Greetings and welcome. It's Seniors Matters time. I'm Brenda Charles Edwards, the host of Seniors Matter. We're live every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on www.Rainier Avenue Radio.world, your community radio station. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, Twitter. Oh, I guess that's X now. And of course, on the Rainier Avenue Radio App. We feature interviews with people that provide services or have valuable information for seniors, their families, and of course, the community. Do you need financial documents notarized? Are you a person that needs documents read to you for clarity or completion? Call me, Brenda, at Black Orchid Notary, 206-683-2636. Tell me where, I'll meet you there. My guest today is TaRessa Stovall. She's a former Seattle native who became an author at the ripe old age of 7 and has written several poems, books, and plays on various topics, including racial identity. Now, TaRessa, I'm just going to let you know, is an old, but not real old, but old friend of mine. And this is going to be the first time that I've seen her in a number of years, and I'm so excited. Welcome to the show, TaRessa. Hey, girl.
Thank you. How are you? It's so great to see you.
There she is.
Yay.
I love her.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I did have a little mishap. I have a sprained ankle, so I'm trying to be careful with that. My husband is trying to keep me in line and saying, don't do this. And he's been my chauffeur, and it's just been a blessing. I love you, honey. So, what have you been up to?
Writing. A lot of writing, since the pandemic. Writing all the time, but especially since then kind of shifted gears. I had a day job doing marketing, and it went away right before the pandemic. So I've been blessed to be able to kind of focus on my writing, concentrate on what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's been very bountiful and very inspiring.
I love it. I love it. And happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you. So, I said you became a writer at the age 7, but what made you do that? I mean, what inspired you?
So picture this. So my mother, brother, and I were on the back porch of our home in the central area, and it was the fall of 1961. And there was a big, really bright moon up in the sky. And I asked my mother about the moon, and she said, "Oh, honey, that's a harvest moon." Ah. And so I just stood there looking at the moon and spit out this poem, my first poem ever, about this harvest moon. And Mom said, "Oh my gosh, that's really good. Let's go inside and you write it down."
Oh, cool.
And so that was the beginning.
Your mother was so cool.
Yes.
The coolest.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
Wow. So then that kind of gave you the confidence to think of yourself as a serious writer, right?
Yes, absolutely. My mother's initial reaction, from the beginning, she was gently encouraging, not in a forceful way, but she took my writing as seriously as I took it. And she was encouraging. She was respectful. She was also a Virgo. So she would, once I got into more complex writing, she would give me critiques, which was really good because it really taught me how to receive feedback and be edited, which served me really well once I got into the professional realm because I was used to it.
So it sounds like she was your earliest writing influence and critic.
Absolutely, 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 yes.
So what kind of support did you receive for your writing along the way?
Well, again, my mother, she started off, I was 7 years old, and she let me use the typewriter that we had at home.
Oh, was it a Smith Corona?
Yeah, she taught me how to type because, she would say things like, she taught me how to type. She would say things like, "Well, if you're going to be a professional writer," that was how she always started, "then you have to know how to type." I was like, okay. So she taught me how to type. As a result, since I learned to type at age 7, my handwriting is trash, but I type well. And my brain is literally wired to some kind of keyboard, right? I can't write anything in longhand. But anyway, So she encouraged me like that all through. In high school, she was like, you have to take shorthand, you have to learn, da 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 da. If you're going to be a professional writer, you have to, and she just took me seriously. And then magic happened. I was a huge fan. One of my earliest influences was the poet and novelist Gwendolyn Brooks, African-American legend out of Chicago. And I don't remember exactly how old I was. I had to be pretty young. She came to Seattle. And somehow I knew she was coming to Seattle, and I typed up my poems and I put them in a little notebook, all professionally. And I went to the event where she was and said hi to her and gave her the poems.
Oh,
Said,
wow.
hi, I'd love your thoughts on the, I'm just like 10, 11, I don't know. I'd love your thoughts on these. And she was so gracious and amazing. And she went home to Chicago, and I don't know what she read or didn't read, but she returned the poems with a lovely, very encouraging, totally positive note. So you couldn't tell me anything at that point because she was my favorite writer.
I'm sure she read them, TaRessa.
Oh, thank you. Well, whether she did or not, I didn't care. It was like, listen, Gwendolyn Brooks told me that my writing is good. I should, and of course, she says keep writing, dear, and all that. But that was pivotal.
I know that's right. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. So if you're just tuning in, you're listening live to Seniors Matter. I've been on vacation, so it's like I'm trying to get back into this.
Into the groove.
With your host, Brenda Charles Edwards on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, your South Seattle community radio station. We're here Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Do you know what's the best legacy you can give yourselves and your loved ones? Join me on Zoom for a group or individual session on legacy end-of-life planning. You can reach me at 206-683-2636. Now back to my guest, author TaRessa Stovall, who writes, speaks, and advocates for mixed race identity equity. Girl, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But so why do you write?
That's a good question. I think so many reasons. I mean, writing is really oxygen, water, and food for me, Brenda, but I write to untangle the knots. I write to know what I'm thinking, to find out what I'm thinking. I write to express what I'm feeling or find out what I'm feeling. And I write to connect, call out to, and connect with other people in the world. That's really what drives me.
So I've thought about writing on a number of different occasions over the years. At one time, I was a flight attendant, and there was a number of things I could have written about that. But there's just been other things that have happened throughout the years. And I always say, well, I'm going to write. In fact, I took this one little writing class and I wrote some things down, but life got in my way and I didn't pursue it, develop it. And so I just said, oh, well, maybe later. But I just was so thrilled. In fact, just knowing you, but just knowing that history about when you first started writing, I just thought, oh wow, I said, this is so cool.
Thank you.
Do you ever get discouraged about your writing?
Oh, sure. I especially get discouraged, as many writers in different realms do, when it comes to making money, finding an audience, having your writing succeed once it's out in the world. It's out in the world without you. I mean, you have to kind of push it out there, promote it, whatever. Those things are hard, and they use different parts of your brain and your being than the creative process. And they're not always easy or comfortable. In today's world, there are more writing opportunities than ever, but it's also sometimes more complicated in terms of how to get your work out there, how to find your audience, how to figure out who your audience is. More of that is on the writer or author's plates nowadays than it used to be. And so the business part, the left brain part, am I going to make money? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. Those things sometimes can be a little discouraging, but to counteract that, I work it out in community, usually with other writers. I'm in a lot of writing groups on social media and outside of social media. And that really helps because we all go through it.
Well, I guess it makes you feel a little bit better. It's not just you. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So you're talking about the writing opportunities. What do you think is the role of writing in today's very high-tech digital world?
Good question. In some ways, we read and write more than ever, right? If you think about like social media and the digital world, we're reading and writing almost constantly. You might be writing with your thumbs on a phone, you know.
Oh, called
But
texting.
communication is way more multidimensional and fragmented than ever. What's interesting about it is, so think about it, you know, in younger generations, you can see it as the generations get younger, have to be more fluent in multiple ways of communicating, right? In multiple ways of communicating. And so writing still remains very much at the core of communication. Now, there's a lot, especially with younger millennials and Gen Z, a lot of them are much more into video.
Mm-hmm.
But even video, when you think about writing, somebody has to craft the content.
Right.
Even if it's visual, there are usually words, there's usually language. And the videos, the video reels on social media, TikTok, YouTube, there's often captions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So writing is still involved and reading is still involved, more than ever, more than ever.
So, you know, it was funny. I just, what do you call, subscribe to TikTok. This friend of mine, who's also my reflexologist, is, she's an avid fan of TikTok. So I said, okay, let me really check this out. I'm not into a lot of that. I do a little Instagram, but very little. But I was cracking up some of the stuff that's on TikTok, and I said, boy, the imagination that people use for this.
Yes, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a lot of it's better than what Hollywood puts out. The other thing that's interesting is that increasing numbers of people, and again, it increases as we go to younger generations, but even us boomers, increasing numbers of people are getting their information from TikTok, getting their news. Now, whether news outlets are on TikTok is another question, but they're just connecting with people who resonate with them, or whose messaging they like, or whose imaging they find interesting, entertaining, engaging. And so it's become, same with YouTube, it's become a news source versus mainstream media that we grew up with. We grew up with just a few very controlled news sources. So it's really kind of running the world.
It is, and it's just amazing to me. And I do probably a little bit more YouTube looking at than I do the TikTok, because the YouTube for me and the areas that I'm looking at are more for education, how to do things, where TikTok to me just seems like amusement.
Well, I mean, I don't know how deep you go. I think it depends on what you're looking for.
And TikTok,
You're looking at influencers, but it's opened up the world. You know, I think that each form of social media, starting with the oldest ones and moving on to the newest ones, opens up the world and possibilities for communicating and people connecting in different ways. Right? True. In different ways. And so we have more ways to communicate than ever, but sometimes that makes it harder to reach whoever you're trying to reach, because you got to figure out where they are in this digital universe, and then try to connect with them, and then try to get their attention and engage with them. So again, it can be a lot, but I think I like it. It's very exciting. I'm a media person, so I find it exciting, even though sometimes it's kind of daunting for my little boomer brain.
Well, you know, I just thought of something while we were talking about this, the writer's strike. And so, but they did kind of have another outlet that they maybe could have gone. And I'm thinking of like soap operas. Could they have used social media? Because a
lot of them, they were in the union and they were prohibited, and they would say on their social media, a lot of the writers, directors, actors, once the actors came in, they said they couldn't really talk about, because all of our social media is being monitored. So these were union negotiations. They're members of the union. They're not acting as individuals. So I saw a lot of them like, I can't wait to tell you about this thing that's in the works or but we can't talk about it until the strike is resolved. So I think they did a pretty good job of educating the public about how this works from their perspective, and explaining what they were striking for, because we see some on TV, you know, Taraji P. Henson has broke the internet the other day,
I saw
crying
that.
about very legitimately on the, and I thought it was interesting, the timing, because she's doing this on the heels of All the Color Purple promo where she's playing Shug Avery, you know, major role, and she's always amazing. She's one of my favorites. And he's talking about the pay discrepancy still for Black actors, Black women. And, you know, so again, they do have different ways. She's doing this on what looks like a talk show. But yes, now everybody has different ways. Public figures have different ways to communicate directly. Sometimes, of course, the dynamics are crazy, and sometimes it backfires on them too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then we have these opinions, or there's rumors. Like right now, there's rumors about certain, you know, celebrities and things, and then we have to do more unpacking, because the content we're seeing isn't, it's not verified, it's not validated, it's not fact checked. We're just consuming it and then reacting to what we consume without necessarily always knowing how legitimate or how accurate it is. It's a very different world.
That's very true. I saw a little blurb today, Simone Biles, and she was going to put to rest the pregnancy rumor. And she said, I am not pregnant at this time. I'm practicing for the next Olympics in 2024. You know, so I was like, well, because I had heard that too, that she was pregnant. And I'm like, okay, well, great if she is, but, you know, kind of bad timing and messing up, you know, for what her career has been and her passion.
Exactly.
So, but, you know, that's all good. I'm glad she came and set the record straight. I don't follow her per se, but I'm happy for her. And I hope that she has a very long and successful, fulfilling marriage and career.
Absolutely. She's amazing.
Yeah. How do you work with others around their writing?
Well, you know, I'm in writing community, so we cheer each other on, we hold each other up. But I also coach. I do book coaching. So I do book coaching and then some marketing platform development coaching, for lack of a better word.
Hold up. What is book coaching?
So you want to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can coach you through the entire process. I've coached fiction authors, nonfiction authors, etc., through the entire process, from you're not quite sure what you want to write about, or you have a vague idea, but you haven't really clarified it, all the way through the entire process, through publication, through marketing, through promotion. So I do book coaching for both fiction and nonfiction authors, a lot of first-time authors.
I bet. Oh, sorry.
Yes, a lot of first-time authors. And I also just recently started teaching a memoir course, because I wrote my memoir in 2020, and it's I kind of got spiritually tapped to do this unexpectedly. I wasn't planning to do it. It's really exciting. It's a 9-month course. I've got a really fabulous group of women, 2 of whom are Seattle residents.
Oh.
And yes, and it's going really well. So we're working on getting them, and they're all first-time authors. You know, so just how do you write a memoir? How do you decide what to write? How do you shape it? That's what we've been working on for a couple of months. And it's a 9-month course. So I've, you know, and those are the ways. And then just a lot of the things we've been talking about with fellow authors, writers, because I'm also a journalist and a blogger and, you know, all these things, is just really, and again, in a lot of the writers communities I'm in, is just exchanging information, sharing opportunities, encouraging each other, pro tips, you know, hey, I went through this and you might want to, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Sure. I get, okay. Huh. That's interesting. That it makes sense.
Yes.
I just started, I just joined a book club.
Oh.
And I will be meeting with them in January for the first time. I know a couple of people in the group, but, and what is the name of the book that we're reading? I gotta look it up. But who are the writers you think everyone should be reading today?
Okay, well, I've got some favorites. One favorite who is, I think, underrated is novelist Bernice McFadden. Bernice McFadden is, I believe, one of the premier literary forces of our time. She's written several amazing novels. She's phenomenal. She's also a beautiful person, but her writing is just knock your socks off amazing. So Bernice L. McFadden. I'm also a big fan of Donna Hill, who has written umpty-11 romances, African American women, by the way, umpty-11 romances, but she also does contemporary women's fiction. And she's, again, a master of the game, beautiful, wonderful, inspiring stories. The late, great Greg Tate, if you've ever heard of Greg Tate, he used to write for the Village Voice. He passed away a few years ago, but his writing is top tier as well. John Blake, if he's a writer at CNN, so he's not like, a TV guy, but he's a writer for CNN, has been for many years. He's biracial, and his biracial memoir came out recently called More Than I Could Imagine. It's very good. I recommend that. And then on the local front, two Pacific Northwest friends of mine, mentors of mine, and whose books are amazing. First, we have Elmer Dixon, who, as people may know, with his brother Aaron Dixon, co-founded the first chapter of the Black Panther Party outside the state of California in 1968 in Seattle Central area. Yeah. And Elmer just came out with his amazing memoir, Die Standing, From Black Panther Revolutionary to Global Diversity Consultant. Die Standing, From Black Panther Revolutionary to Global Diversity Consultant. So get Elmer Dixon, Die Standing on Amazon. The other one is my former professor, lifelong mentor, friend, and source of inspiration, Dr. Joy Hardiman. And she has a phenomenal book out. I don't even know how to describe it in terms of genre. It's just that deep and wonderful. And I'm going to give you the name of that. And her book is The Raw-Surrection. So not resurrection, Ra, R-A. She's very influenced by Kemetic philosophy. The Raw-Surrection of Truth from the Chains of Falsehood. It's a beautiful, brightly colored book for all ages, all kinds of people, no matter what your background, your belief system, your culture. So Joy, J-O-Y-E, Hardiman, go to Amazon. The Raw-Surrection, R-A-S-U-R-R-E-C-T-I-O-N, of Truth from the Chains of Falsehood. Highly, highly recommend it. No matter who you are, I believe it will brighten your life and encourage you in your journey.
Wow. Okay. And I'm writing this down. But the book that our club is reading is Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng.
She's an amazing author. She wrote Little Fires Everywhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't read that book, but sounds great. She's a great author.
So I'm listening to it on Audible because
nice.
And I'm trying to take notes because I don't know what's expected of me in the book club because I've not been in a book club except for when I was young and I did the Nancy Drew thing and all that. But yes, you didn't have to talk about it.
Right? It wasn't all that deep. No, that's a great idea. Audible. Oh my gosh, I love Audible. It's such a great way to enjoy writing and to enjoy stories and books and information. And again, it just expands the options that we have, which I think is always great.
So, I'm looking at the time. And time is moving fast. What is it like being an award-winning journalist and blogger with works featured in the USA Weekend, the Courier Post, the Montclair Times, and many other platforms, my dear?
Oh, thank you very much. What is it like? What is it like? It's like, it's fun. It's exciting. It's crazy. What that means is journalism, again, what we've been talking about the whole time, and I think it's especially relevant in a senior context. Media, journalism, communications have changed and are changing beyond the speed of thought. So rapidly that it's hard to even go. I mean, where do you get your news? I read a recent article that said most people these days get their news from Facebook and TikTok.
I know.
Journalism. So the nature of journalism is very different. We now have what we call citizen journalism, which is anybody with a device who can put out content can be a journalist. But in terms of a more formal sense, what's it like? It's a great responsibility. It's a lot of fun. It's challenging because, again, what what people are looking for and what you can deliver. You got to kind of find the fit. But it's always really, really gratifying. What drives me, Brenda, is the possibility of reaching and connecting with somebody through all the different kinds of writing I do, is reaching and connecting with somebody in a way where it feels like something I'm saying is valuable. Maybe it helps prompt a thought, an idea. Maybe they agree, maybe they disagree, in whatever case they're thinking. I think that's one of the great things that information can do and that journalism can do. So it's an honor and a privilege, and I take it very seriously.
Well, I think that's fantastic, dear. I'm so
Thank you so
proud.
much.
I know you, so I can say I know an award-winning. Anyway, I won't do that to you. But hey, when are you coming back to Seattle?
I don't know. Probably in the next year and a half or so.
Well, please call me.
Well, of course. Absolutely. Of
Because
course. Absolutely.
we obviously can't carry on like I would love to, but we can when you come back. We'll do
Yes.
lunch,
Yes.
or maybe we'll just do a Zoom call. But I'd rather see your face. I'm just so excited to see you. And
Yes.
just for those that may not know, TaRessa has 2 children, a son and a daughter, and they're writers also. So it's just obviously these type of things pass through the genes.
Well, their dad was a newspaper guy.
Yes,
So
yes,
I mean,
that's
they
true.
got
You gotta
it
give them
honest
his
from both
props.
sides. They got it honest from both sides. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, let me do a shameless plug. So
Okay.
they're both amazing writers. My son has published books and he writes for different outlets. My daughter, Mariah Stovall, has a debut novel coming out in mid-February. So I want to push that. It's available for pre-order on Amazon, and it's called I Love You So Much It's Killing Us Both. So that's the mom shameless plug for my daughter, Mariah Stovall's debut novel coming out February 13th. I Love You So Much It's Killing Us Both. So check it out.
And how do you spell Mariah?
Mariah, Mariah Stovall.
Okay.
Yes. Mariah like the diva.
Uh-huh. I love it. I love it. Well, my time is up, but I will be back in contact with you because we got our thing going now.
Yes.
So this is Brenda Charles Edwards, host of the Seniors Matter Show. You can watch us, listen to us live on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, X, and of course the Rainier Avenue Radio App. We're here on Fridays at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. Thank you to my listening audience, my wonderful, lovely, fabulous, extraordinaire guest, Miss TaRessa Stovall. And I just want to say, I also thank you to my songstress, singer, Patrice Isley, who does my intro and outro. Enjoy the holiday, however you celebrate it. Be thankful, be blessed, love your family. Have a great weekend. Be safe and live your life like it's golden. See ya, TaRessa. Talk to you soon, hon.
Thanks. Happy holidays.
You too, babe. Bye-bye.
Bye.